So you were telling me yesterday about a program that you're doing. How did you come up with this idea and like your progress on teaching and learning and all these things? So tell us a little bit about this.
Um, I'm working on an idea on a project right now with either the Compass Project as one name or Forgiveness is Healing. It's really a project about forgiveness, healing, and justice. I like maybe calling it the Compass Project because a compass gives us our direction, right? And our direction is supposed to be down the straight path so that we can be successful on Judgment Day. So I kind of like that idea, that name. I'm still playing with that. But I've been doing other things. I've been doing, like in the United States, I work with Furqan Foundation for distributing Qurans. I think that it's like 1.7 million Qurans that Furqan has distributed in the United States at this point. With them, I also got involved with Da'wah in the Philippines. And there was an organization in the Philippines, Furqan, like a branch or sister organization. And the guy who was running it had an argument with some of the guys that were the da'is, with like these two da'is that I liked a lot. I liked these guys a lot. I saw amazing da'wah with them. Like, we went and spoke to 60 people and 40 of them accepted Islam because the one gentleman he learned Christianity from the inside. He was the da'i for the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
What's his name?
And,
I probably know him.
Narciso.
I know Brother Isa Wood. I think he's with the Furqan, if I'm not mistaken.
He is. Isa Wood is with
Yes,
in the
I know
United
him.
States.
I actually met him in Alabama. Yeah, mashallah.
Yeah. He's on the East Coast in the United States. Did a wonderful job. Well, I'm talking about the Philippines.
Okay, yeah.
And Narciso is in the Philippines. And Narciso, he knows everything there is to know about debating because for the Seventh-day Adventist, he was the guy that they sent to the debates on the side of Christianity.
Subhanallah.
And he's actually kind of like famous amongst the Christians because back in the 90s, he won a debate so much, the imam actually converted to Christianity. And so, that's like a very rare thing. Even if, a debate is just about who knows better words at a given time. So maybe the guy can beat you with words. That doesn't change who God is. That doesn't change Judgment Day. I mean, maybe you can talk better than me and you sound better than me and you win a debate, you score more points. But I'm not about to give up Judgment Day. I'm not about to give up paradise just because you beat me in a debate. But apparently, he convinced this imam to become a Christian. And so Narciso became very famous. Over time, he became very disillusioned with a lot of the stuff the church was saying that wasn't actually in the Bible. And he met a guy called Abdul-Bari. And Abdul-Bari was the other da'i I'm talking about. And Abdul-Bari spoke to him and he became Muslim. And I watched these guys talk to people. And if they talked to 3 people, 2 of them accepted Islam. So I didn't want that power of da'wah to go away. And they invited me to Philippines. They said, we need to do something. We need your help. So I went there and we had it was a little coffee table with 6 of us back in 2015. And we decided we needed to do something different, right? Because I knew that what I really needed to do was get a bunch of people in front of them because the statistics were they were very good at what they do. So the traditional da'wah of like a book table or the guy who stands in the corner with the microphone and the speaker, that doesn't get the numbers of people to listen that I knew we needed to do.
Right.
So we had to come up with a different method of da'wah. There wasn't really like that direct hit you on the head da'wah, right? So we decided we needed to address something that was a problem in Philippines. And one of the problems they had were the Muslims. I mean, historically, the Muslims were the drug dealers, the kidnappers. They had their own brand of ISIS going on there. The Christians were terrified, and rightly so. So I said, we decided that what we need to do is find a way to spread peace amongst the people. That we wanted to show these, ideally Christians, because it's a very Christian nation, but anybody, regardless of their religion, we wanted them to understand that whatever these guys over here are doing is not Islam, right? They might be Muslim, I don't know, I'm not a judge, that's for Judgment Day,
Right.
but what they were doing was not Islam. Even if they said it was, they were wrong.
Right.
So we wanted them to understand what real Islam was about and how real Muslims need to behave.
Right.
And that's in a peaceful, neighborly way where the golden rule is important. You treat people the way you want to be treated. The same way Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he treated the lady next door who she hated Islam. She threw garbage in front of his door every day, and he spoke to her with kind words every day. Every time he saw her, he was polite. One day there was no garbage in front of his door, and instead of being happy that there was no garbage, he became worried because there must be something wrong with the lady. She must be sick. That's why she didn't come out and throw garbage, right? This is really the true Islam, right? The true belief of how we should be friendly to everybody. That, even if they don't like us, it's okay. Allah tells us in the Quran that you treat bad deeds with good deeds, right? If somebody's evil, bad to you, protect yourself, justice is involved, but don't be wrong. Don't wrong them just because they wrong you, right? Be just, provide justice for them, be just to them. And so that's what we wanted to show in the Philippines. It became very popular. We would approach churches with this message, unity of the peacemakers, right? If you want peace, we need to unify, right? It doesn't matter what your religion is. What it's about is making society better for everybody. And we had alhamdulillah, we had some sponsors. There's a lady in Emirates who was mailing giant boxes of diapers and formula, and they would put together money and sponsor wells and stuff like this. And so the organization would take them to the maternity hospital. And it wasn't just Muslims, it was anybody at the maternity hospital. They would get some diapers and some formula because they're really poor and they need it, right? It's about helping people because they're people, not about because of what they believe, but because they're humans. And as Muslims, we need to be the guide for the humans, right? This is how you should behave. And the organization, it grew from 6 people in 2015 to, like, I don't know, when we quit counting, maybe in 2018, it was over 26,000 people. And for the first 2 years, I did the statistics. I counted, I saw over 3,000 people accept Islam. There was a bunch that accepted Islam when I wasn't there because I didn't live in the Philippines. I just visited. And
MashaAllah. Well,
I realized that this is the way that I want to go forward. Is I want to make an organization where it's about doing right. It's about helping people. It's about providing. And I already had the idea about forgiveness is healing. This has always been my mantra since I became Muslim. But especially this year, right? We can look at what's going on right now with all the protests and the riots and the way that, in these riots and these protests, the police are really the bad actors, right? Now the protests, we don't have those foreign influences that are like, burning buildings and stuff like that so much. But it's the police that are really acting horrible to the people that have a perfect right to protest according to the United States Constitution.
Right.
And the reason that all of this is going on is because they need healing, right? These people, they don't even know it. They're hurting. They're angry. They've been oppressed. Especially the African Americans, but really all the people have been oppressed unless they're the oppressors. And they're in desperate need of healing. And so that's why I can see that this is more important than ever. I spent my lockup time, we're still in lockup here, studying the methodologies of forgiveness, because one of the things we can do to help people is help them forgive, because it is actually scientifically proven to be healing. when we are hurt, we become angry, and we hold these resentments, we actually raise our cortisol levels and all these stress hormones. And these stress hormones are, you can think of them like tiny little knives floating around in our body, stabbing all of our internal organs and shortening our life and creating diseases and things like this. Right? You know, I mean, if you've ever been angry at somebody, you can understand that this isn't healthy, right? I mean, you feel bad, right? Of course, you're angry, but you also physically feel bad. And it's been proven that when you forgive somebody, not just with your brain, right? I mean, intellectual forgiveness, we know we need to forgive, but like, so I told myself, okay, I'm going to forgive this person, but then when I'm around that person, I'm doing all this passive aggressive stuff, right? I'm still kind of secretly angry at him. That means I have not actually cleaned my heart. I have not emotionally forgiven him. And so I've been studying the mechanics, the methodology of emotional forgiveness. And there's an actual methodology, just like the grieving process. There's a forgiving process with steps. And so I think that, you know, we can open up with forgiveness and help people heal, right? Because there's going to be a lot of emotional damage, a lot of trauma, whether, you know, we carried it since we were kids, or, you know, we're being traumatized right now by our own government. There's a lot of trauma going on right now, and this is going to need to be healed. And not only that, but there's a lot of physical stuff, you know, like COVID, right? I mean, there's all kinds of diseases and stuff that we need to heal from. And while I don't suggest that forgiveness replaces medicine, you know, definitely follow your doctor's orders. It's very helpful to remove that cortisol that is affecting health.
Right.
And then, of course, we take that farther and we show the true forgiveness. Actually, the most important aspect of forgiveness is divine forgiveness, right? Because as a believer, you and I know Judgment Day is very real. And the most important thing that happens for us as far as forgiveness is concerned is that we receive the mercy and forgiveness of our Creator on Judgment Day.
That's correct.
And so this will be a method of da'wah to start people down this path of forgiveness. And then we can introduce the concepts through Tawheed of divine forgiveness and then show them that this type of forgiveness is really successful, and this is also part of Islam. And I mean, it's still progress, right? It's still a work in progress at this point. I have a website that, I mean, unfortunately, you know, I'm old school, right? I'm not a programmer. I don't, you know, my kids, they're not Muslim, or, you know, maybe I can get them to help. But forgiveness-heal.org, right? You can go there. That's the website. And it's a work in progress. Basically, it's a placeholder at this point.
Yeah.
I doodle with it each day, and if there's people out there that find forgiveness to be something important, maybe they want to volunteer to help. That would be wonderful.
I'll put the address of that website, inshallah, and your email at the bottom of the video. So on YouTube, and also on this, inshallah, I can put it in the text. So people can actually visit your website and also contact you through your email, inshallah. But before I go, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran in chapter 4, I believe, says, but pardon them and overlook their misdeeds. Indeed, Allah loves the doers of good. And so I always say that you forgive not because the one who wronged you deserve it. You forgive not because the one who wronged you is asking you for it. You forgive not because the one who wronged you feels bad about it or have remorses. Actually, you forgive to reconcile with yourself. You forgive to stop worrying and eliminate your depression. You forgive to live happier and carefree. And most importantly, you forgive to be forgiven by Allah and live happily in this life and hereafter. So, subhanallah. So, inshallah, before we go, I only have 5 minutes and then I have to go actually to the other masjid. You know, I have 5 minutes, inshallah. If you can tell me if you have any message to the non-Muslims or to the Muslims, or if you have any kind of comment or message, inshallah, before we conclude. Jazakallah khair. Yeah.
For the non-Muslims, I mean, you know, what I would hope is that they take an honest look, right? What are you going to do on Judgment Day, right? You need to take an honest look at what is God, who is God, and not be afraid of what you find out, right? I mean, and you might be afraid, but don't let that stop you from the truth. And the first step on that journey is to simply ask God Almighty to show you the truth, right? And I mean, I would ask that you ask Allah to show you the truth. Ask Allah, He is God, and ask Him for signs. Now, there might not be the big signs that I got, because, I mean, while I was having these big signs, that's because at the same time, Satan was really, really strong in my life too, right? And so I needed those big signs because I was having big complications. But ask God to help, ask God to direct you. And it will happen. You will see things. All too often we want to say that's not real, that's a coincidence, that's not God. But remember, if you ask God, be willing to accept the signs that you see, the pathway that comes in front of you, and be sincere when you ask, right? I mean, if you're not sincere, nobody does. Like, if you ask me for a favor and you don't really mean it, why would I do it, right? If you don't really, if you're not sincere when you ask God to show you the right path, maybe you're not high on the. Be sincere, and God will be sincere with you. You take one step towards God, and God comes running for you. God wants all of us to worship Him. Yes. God only wants the best for us, and the best for us is to be in paradise, right? I mean, if you look at it, right? I mean, life is only that long, right? Say there's a rope, and that much of the rope is life, and then the afterlife runs continuous, non-stop. That you don't see the end of that rope. That's how much bigger the afterlife is compared to the life. And we spend so much time worrying about some little dot on that little rope right there, and very little time, many of us, worrying or working for the rest of that rope. Focus on the afterlife for a little bit. Focus on God. Ask God to guide you. And if you're a Muslim, don't make it hard. Make it easy, right? I mean, unfortunately, like when you became Muslim, right? When I became Muslim, when anybody becomes Muslim, you discover that there's all these little groups. You know, Muslims are people. They're not some magical, mystical people that only do the stuff that's right. Muslims are people. They commit sins. They do right. They do wrong, like everybody else. And so a lot of them will get tricked. They'll get tricked into thinking that I'm so righteous, I've found the right path, and they become arrogant. And this arrogance is actually used by Shaitan to scare other people away. That's right. So don't make it hard, make Islam easy. Don't be judgmental, be forgiving. Inshallah. A lot of people will believe something today, and maybe next year they'll believe something different, and maybe your meanness, your arrogance towards them scared them away from what might be the true path, right. The correct Islam, right? The Quran and Sunnah of our Prophet, the Tawheed, the praying to Allah alone, right? You know, if some people have different ideas because of their culture, mixed some stuff into Islam, be friends with them. Show them the right path. Don't condemn them and yell at them, because all you're really doing is pushing them away from the right path.
That's right.
This is my advice to Muslims, because unfortunately I see this a lot too.
Jazakumullah khair, brother. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that. It was a great message, mashallah, great project that you're doing. And once I put the information for your website and email, inshallah, you'll have some people who would love to help you and volunteer, inshallah, and may Allah bless you. And we're honored to have you as a mentor with our program also for the new Muslims. Jazakumullah khair, and inshallah we'll keep in touch. Barakallah Allah Fيكم. May Allah bless you.
بارك الله فيك. Thank you very much for taking the time today. And وإياك. جزاك الله خير for all the work you do.
Alhamdulillah.
مع السلامة.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. مع السلامة.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
مع السلامة.